about this place. It's mostly just a little dead ends. There's no traffic. It has a fair number of hydraulic structures that we can look at. So at least you will have thought about them. Not that you haven't seen these all your life, but probably you never thought about them at all. Just like the irrigation system. Here we have what's called a box culvert that goes under a road. Someday this road's going to go through. You can see the rezoning right there. They're going to develop this. And this right here, you have to go and stop. I'm not sure why, but when you design the box culvert, you got to design it for a flow rate. Handle a certain flow. You learn equations to calculate how much flow can go through this box culvert underneath our feet here. But when we look at the peak flow, we look at this arroyo that goes all the way to the top of the Franklin Mountains. We have the curves around there. You can see where all the, or at least on a map, you can see where all the water that falls in rain can come down this single point. And so we look at several things. One, we look at how much time it takes. Because if you have a big watershed, then longer length storms are the worst case. Whereas if you have a little watershed, like the parking lot, then a real brief, like 1 minute downpour. So we have a concept called time of concentration, which is simplicity. How long does it take a drop of water to run down to here? It would be, I don't know, half hour, something like that order. We want to get rainstorms about that length of time. Now, if you think about it, rainstorms occur. Guys, get my you didn't wait for us. Alright, that's a lot of So anyway, if you think about the rainfall event, the hardest one day of rain is not as hard on the average as the hardest 5 minutes of rain typically. It comes down like cats and dogs. And so the shorter the storm, the more intense it is. And so you need to have this relationship between length of storm, intensity of storm, and understand where you have to look on that graph. So, peak discharge is what it is. That's not the amount of water. Every time it's peak discharge, you usually have to design something. And so the part design, another part you can see here, inlets, one on either side. The idea of these is to take water off the creek, get swept off the feet. In 2006, we had pictures of people going down, they'll get washed down, not washed down the street, down Shadow Mountain, because fast moving water comes down the street can knock you right off your feet. So those are street inlets, and we'll see what those street inlets look like underground in a minute as we head underground. So let's go ahead and walk around the wall and down the brooks and get down below.
Not at all. That's gonna be a fun day.
Tá, güey. Ya te persiguió.
That'd be fun as hell.
Como si te caes de camino en mí.
Okay.
This is what's called a box culvert. So culverts can be a lot of shapes. You can have corrugated steel pipe, You can make a box culvert like this out of concrete. This is probably the most common thing you see in El Paso. You also make them circular. Different ways to do it, different trade-offs, but this is one of the simplest designs and probably the most common. What you do is you calculate how much flow goes through here, and based on that, you can match that to the estimated discharge down here so that you can have some assurance that most of the time this won't flood over the top. However, engineers are risk managers. We put, people criticize you put a value on somebody's life and so forth. Well, engineers really do that all the time. That is, we don't design for any occasion, for any possible flood, because it would frankly cost too much money. If we had everything perfect, we couldn't have anything at all. So, there's always trade-offs. Usually there's codes in a city, and often they'll say, plan for the 100-year flood. So if it's beyond a 100-year flood, we don't really plan for it for most facilities. And for a 100-year flood, you expect it to flood over the top of this thing. But underneath that, if it's less than a 100-year flood, then this thing ought to hold up and ought to take the water. So there's trade-offs there. So through this... You can see this is where the street inlet comes down inside, so it just takes the water down inside the culvert.
Oh, yeah, flash for this. I can't see this. No mames. I mean, I have flash for this stuff. Wait, here we go. Oh, there's a hole right there. Ew. Great.
¿Qué dijo? Ay, acabo de lavar eso.
Oh, not good. Great. See?
Yeah, here we go.
Oh.
All right. Well, this is engineering. Get your feet dirty.
That's fun.
Now, down here are blocks. These are blocks, are energy dissipation blocks. What they do is they slow down the water, dissipate some of the energy, and that's part of the idea. But the other part of the idea is, the water is going to go down here. You can see how much erosion has been caused over the years by the water coming down here. This really graphically shows the power of water, because this is all the way since this thing was built. I don't know when it was built, but probably 20 years ago, and it's all eaten away. You can see the sides of this have been eaten out as well. Now these blocks, what they do is if the water is going supercritical here, they'll cause it to form a hydraulic jump before it gets off the concrete line portion. The reason we do that is hydraulic jumps have lots and lots of turbulence, cause lots and lots of erosion. They probably even cause erosion through this stuff right here. You see that's kind of falling away there? But down there they do tremendous sort of damage. And so you try to form the jump on a place where you plan for it, where you've reinforced it. That's part of the engineering. Slow the water down, do the hydraulic jump, of course. But now this is downgrade so much that it certainly goes supercritical form to slip again. You get another hydraulic jump down there. It's just corrodes the heck out of it. The good thing you can see down there, looks like there's a cleachy layer, and that's what's causing that little cliff down below us. It's a cleachy layer. Right? So, from here, the idea here was just to see some of these hydraulic structures and see how they stood or not stood the test of time. This little rock we have, decorative rock we have, it's better than dirt, but it doesn't stand up very well. So it's better just to use reinforced concrete if you have to. Furthermore, when they make this, often they use low quality concrete and just flips all out because they don't do good quality control in these walls. I've seen them all over the place. People call them erosion protection, walls. They're really not a structural thing at all. They're not made that way. Fantasy around here is these are retaining walls. Alright, so next stop is we go back to the right, go back down Executive, turn right on Pisano. Your instructions have it, actually I think it's Railroad.